Hey there, everybody. There we go. How you like that? Alright, a little bit of music there going on. Let's smooth that a little bit because we don't want to drown me out, which has happened before. So, anyway, welcome to Lilly Sketchpad, brought to you by Force One Studios. I am your host, Tom Lilly. Last time I spoke to you, we were working on a sketch of. I was trying to work on a concept, trying to get the idea of what I was looking for one of my characters. Not sure if you guys remember, or you should remember him. It wasn't that long ago. It was just the last video. The character's name is Rummy. I keep wanting to call him Remy. Maybe I should change his name to Remy, but no, I'm going to keep it Rummy. His name is Rummy. And as I said before, the reason why he's called Rummy is literally because his the guy who named him was a barkeep. So I'm gonna mute this just a little bit more because I don't want to drown myself out here again on this video, and I'll keep my mic relatively close. Although this setup kind of seems awkward to me, but I'm gonna work with it anyway. Let's get cracking here. What I plan on doing is I'm going to continue working on this character. Since the last time I spoke to you, I did do a quick or little illustration trying to work out some details, and I came up with this. This is a little closer, and I think what I'm going for here, I decided what I'm going to go for is because Rummy is so old. I shouldn't say he's so old. There's actually werewolves and remnants and vampires who are a lot older than he is. But because of, I guess because of the harshness growing up, harshness of his background, because of him being a werewolf for, I guess you could say, almost 130, 140 years. I mean, he was born in 1862, 1866, around that era. We're still working at the finite details on that. He was born in 1860. We'll just say 1866 because the murder started happening around 1888. So and I wanted to be about 22 when those murders began. So the idea, the concept is because he is aged, because he's gotten older, his physical appearance doesn't age, his body doesn't age. Because in my story, the remnants and the werewolves, part of the process of becoming what they are, part of the process of a curse is they literally die. They die first and then they come back. Even with the werewolf, it's like their humanity, or that portion of their humanity, that portion of their soul dies. So because they die, they no longer age. The aging process stops for them, and they continue living their life until until something comes along and kills them off permanently, or until their master does away with them, which involves, I guess you could say, killing them as well. So anyway, this is Remy again. In Remy's case, him and Delilah, which is the woman he falls in love with, and the woman that falls in love with him, Delilah, is a remnant, or revenant. I call it remnant. I'm sorry. Is a revenant, and a revenant is essentially, in my story, is another, like you say, courtesan, or general, or there are higher-ranking officers in the dark armies of the condemned. The condemned are the leaders. They're the ones who are the iron fist, and they control everything. They are they're the vampires. Okay, and then what comes below them, because in my story, a vampire cannot turn another human into a vampire. That cannot happen. The reason why is because in order to become a vampire, you have to have been one of the condemned. In my story, however, what they can do is they, if they choose, they want to keep you and make you part of their legion. They want to turn you into a revenant. A revenant, R-E-V-E-N A-N-T. If they want to turn you into a revenant, what they do is they'll bite on you, suck on you till you're almost dead, and at the point of when you come out of or when you're almost dead, they give you a choice. They tell you what's going on. They tell you essentially that I've chosen you to be a part of my army. I want you to be in my soldiers. You'll work for me. You'll be ruled by me. You'll be part of my legion, but you will live forever. It is your choice to accept the curse or deny the curse. If you accept the curse, you're part of my army, you're part of my legion, and you'll live forever. If you don't accept the curse, I will finish you off, suck you dry, and you die, and your soul will be saved. Well, they don't tell you about the soul part because they're trying to sell you on the idea, I guess. So they don't want to say, hey, well, when you do this, you're condemning your soul to eternal damnation, because you have rejected God, and now God will reject you. So, in a sense, what happens with the revenant is if they choose to accept the curse, a vampire will then slice into themselves, usually the wrist or so forth, and they allow that person to suck on their wrist and ingest their blood. Once that is done, they don't become a vampire. Once that is done, they literally die. But they awake. They come out of their wrath, and then now they are undead. And in this case, what happens with a revenant is they become like a vampire, but not quite a vampire. They have to suck on blood. They have to drink blood to stay alive, like a vampire. But also in this story, what they also have to do is they have to consume a body part. Essentially what happens is their body goes through what's called a living death. They drink the blood not because there's an entity living or a piece of themselves living inside of themselves consuming the blood that's inside of them like a vampire. In this case, they drink blood because they have to replenish the dying blood inside of them. The blood that's pumping through their arteries and their veins. Eating normal food will not replenish that blood or oxygenate that blood. They have to drink the blood of another human being to get that oxygenated blood to feed their organs and to feed their body. And that's why they always must consume blood. However, they also have to consume the organs or flesh of other humans. Essentially, because their body is dying, their heart, their liver, their kidneys, every part of them is slowly dying, rotting away. Even though they're getting blood, it's slowly rotting and slowly dying on them. So what they have to do at this point is, if they want to keep their heart beating, they have to consume a heart. If they want to keep their liver working, they have to consume the liver. If they want to keep the kidneys, so forth and so on, to keep going on, to keep their skin and flesh from rotting, they have to consume the flesh of another human. They don't have to consume it as often as they have to consume blood. This blood they have to consume on a daily basis. However, the flesh part of eating a body, they would have to eat at least, in some cases, depending on the organ, once a month. Sometimes maybe a little bit more, but at some point they have to consume the other parts of the human body in order to keep their parts of their body functioning. Okay, so that's what a revenant is. Now, in a werewolf, in my story, in werewolf's case, they're also consumed by a curse. However, their curse is, and I think I might have described this before, but I'll go into more detail, or I'll let you guys know what's going on with this. In the werewolves, essentially in my story, and what you'll find out eventually is how the werewolf was created. There was a vampire that happened to be born into a tribe and became a shaman of this tribe thousands or so years ago, a holy man of this tribe. But he was twisted, bent, and the tribe realized it, and he became like an evil sorcerer shaman. But the thing was, his family was executed by the tribe as a result, because they thought he was cursed. But when this happened, it created a traumatic event in his life that allowed him to start remembering everything. Started remembering his past lives. Started helping him remember eventually, again, as what happens with most condemned, allows him to continue back and eventually remember what he originally was. So now, not only does he have all the powers of a vampire, but he also has magic. He's able to use magic and able to use black magic, more notably use black magic. And what this vampire does is, rather than create an ordinary revenant like most vampires do, he wanted something a little bit more savage. And what he wanted to do was create a being that was like the revenant, could live, but a little bit more fierce, a little bit more aggressive. And he wanted to make that his foot soldier. So what he did was he consumed the blood of one of the members of the tribe that he chose to be a part of his legion. He considered a friend, and consumed him until the guy was almost dead, and then he gave him the choice, like every vampire does. And this friend, what was supposed to be his friend, chose to go ahead and follow him and become a part of the tribe, become a revenant. However, he was not aware at the time that the vampire had another option, had another choice, something he wanted to do completely different. He fed him his blood, but also fed him the blood of a wolf at the same time. And through a magic incantation, he ended up creating an alternate version of a revenant. He created the werewolf, the lycanthrope. And that is what Rummy is. He's one of the lycanthropes. And now what happens with the lycanthrope, how the line is progressed, or how they keep moving, what happens is say a werewolf's, you get a conflict with the werewolf, and somehow doesn't happen very often, because werewolves are very powerful, very quick, and like most animals, they can hunt you down merely by scent. Say you happen to survive a werewolf attack, but you've been bitten, not scratched, bitten. Because I've seen some stories where they have a werewolf where it just simply has to scratch you and become a werewolf. No, not my story. That doesn't happen. In my story, in order to become a werewolf, you have to be bitten, because the bite is a transfer of fluids, that fluid that enters into your body from the bite. Well, so what happens is this werewolf bites you. You survive. You somehow mysteriously survive, or it allows you to survive. In some cases, they choose a victim not to kill or to eat or devour, but literally to make another werewolf to increase their numbers. And so when that does happen, when that occurs, before the next full moon, that wolf will locate you. The one that bit you will locate you, because he now connected to you. And when he locates you, or she locates you, because there's some of them are female, when he or she locates you, they inform you of the new curse, of this curse that happens to you. Essentially, again, like the revenant, they let you know that before the next full moon, before the finish of the next full moon, you have a choice. You can accept the curse of the werewolf or the lycanthrope and become one of them. Right? You can become one of them, accept the curse that you're forsaking God and all else. You're joining this legion of this vampire, of these vampires, of these condemned. You can accept this curse, but if you reject the curse, you'll keep your soul, your salvation, but you die. The venom of the bite turns toxic, and it will kill you rather than change you into a werewolf. Again, in my story, what I want to do is evil's never forced upon you. Everything's a choice, and that's what I think, what I personally believe happens in life. No matter how bad things happen in your life, no matter what happens, everything you choose to do is your choice. And I believe the Bible actually tells us that. God tells us you have a choice. You can walk the path of the light, or you can walk the path of the dark. It's your choice. He gave us free will, and the same thing goes on with it in my story. It goes on with free will. The werewolves, the condemned, or the revenant, they had a choice. Even the condemned, I think I said this before in just a previous video, even the condemned had a choice. Their choice was thousands or many years ago, before they were punished by God, and they chose to defy God's law, and as a result, God punished them by turning them into the fallen, or the condemned, and started them all off as the fallen. Well, same thing for the revenant. Same thing for the werewolf. It's always a choice. The curse is a choice. You can now. Some would say that's not much of a choice. Okay, I either choose to become evil or I choose to die. But hey, if you choose to die, your soul's saved and you have a chance of going to heaven. If you choose evil, there's no choice anymore. You essentially you essentially go through a living death. You live, but you're technically dying all the time. You have to do things to keep yourself going, and so werewolves have to do so too. They have to consume the flesh on a regular basis in order to keep themselves going. It's the reason why they're ravenous, why they're always eating, why they especially like going after humans and eating humans, is because they have to consume this flesh to keep themselves going. But anyway, the werewolf, especially I'm gonna include some of the myths of the old, how they eat babies' hearts and stuff like that, but I'm not sure. I'm just playing around with that, tinkering with some of the story ideas on that. But anyway, the werewolves, even with the werewolves, it's always a choice. The evil is always a choice. Just like in life, evil's a choice. You can, it's like some people say, well, he never had a choice. He had to go, or she never had a choice. In order to survive on the streets, they had to choose to be evil. Well, you had a choice. To me, you always still had a choice. You could have chose to die rather than let somebody twist you and turn you into something you're not. They're not supposed to be. I mean, we all have a choice. It's a harsh reality. The only reason why I say that is because I've gone through some pretty hard tragedies in my life. I won't go into all the personal issues, but I've told a few people about them in the past, and as a result of a lot of them say, "Man, you've gone through a lot." They really don't realize people have told me I'm really stable. I don't consider myself that stable, but some people have told me I'm pretty stable for somebody who's gone through the stuff that I've gone through in my life. So anyway, that is the sketch of a rough idea of what I'm looking for Rummy, Rummy, RUMMY. This is a sketch of what I'm looking for Rummy, and one idea for him, and I'm going to continue working on this. I'm thinking I'm going to try him from a different angle, or have him do it leaning. I just got to get used to drawing them and figuring out how I want them. Man, I'm really getting into this little tune, especially I do. And again, I did this on using GarageBand. Thank you, Apple. Thank you, Apple. And create my own music on Apple using an Apple software. Software provided for you by Apple. Either way, but I'm able to create this wonderful stuff like this music, and again, you know what? Let's just draw a simple side view. Let's see what we're gonna look like in this side view. And I can draw them from the front and all that stuff, but I just gotta get used to drawing this guy, because after all, he's gonna be the first werewolf. Well, not the first werewolf that not the very first wolf that Callan comes across. I shouldn't say it like that. But he is going to be the very first wolf, or werewolf, that Callan will be fighting on his own. It's his first mission, solo mission by himself, because everything he will have done before this will be a mission. Missions will have been training missions, like I say, or missions working in with his predecessor, his teacher. Ibrahim. Not Abraham. Ibrahim. 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 Just want to make sure I say that. It's not Abraham. It's Ibrahim. There's even a story in there where I'm going to clue where he has a nickname. He doesn't like people to call him. Ibrahim has a nickname. He doesn't like people to call him. And it's because it's a nickname given to him by someone he considered a friend. It's a joke. They call him. It was the nickname was Hammy. I shouldn't say it was a friend. It was actually it was Ibrahim's instructor, Ibrahim's predecessor, gives Ibrahim the nickname Hammy. And of course Callan finds out about it eventually and makes the mistake of calling his mentor Hammy one time, and only once, like calling your father something you shouldn't be calling him only one time. You learn the first time. Don't do it again. Now, thing with I'm doing with this guy is he's gonna have a wicked scar. As I said, this man, Rummy, has been through a lot of fights, a lot of bar fights, a lot of brawls, and he's actually even been in fights against his fellow werewolves. And that's why I want him to have like just this mean, nasty scar, and it's going to be a scar that comes down his entire face. It's like his badge of honor. And I'm thinking about making depending on how I go with the story, it might be a scar he actually has before he becomes a wolf. I might make it as a result of being a wolf. Maybe he got the scar in a fight with another wolf. We'll figure all that out later. But right now, I just know I want this guy to have a wicked scar. Scar that goes all the way down his chin. It's going to be deep, so it's going to carve, like leave an indentation in the chin. Like so. There you go. Now, you see here in this illustration over here, I've got him kind of fuzzy with pointed ears, because I'm thinking maybe because he's spent so much time as the wolf, or maybe even he just chooses to be part wolf all the time, slightly changed, and it's where he feels the most powerful. So he does that constantly. Not enough where it sets off alarms for people. Yeah, he can hide the ears and stuff like that, but it's enough where he feels the power of the wolf, because he loves that feeling of being a wolf. After all, you gotta remember, he grew up in the mean streets of London in the 1800s, and he was the heavy. Or not the heavy, what do they call him? He was the hitman for his gang. It was whenever they need somebody executed, he was their executioner. He was their hitman for his gang before he got attacked in the street and ended up becoming ended up in the hospital, where he was helped by that doctor friend, and then where he ended up meeting Delilah, who then changed him and warped him, and or not, or I shouldn't say changed him, warped, because he was already bad. He was already bad, but he confessed it to her, and it drove her wild, passionate. She's got hot for him because she realized that he was already like her. I mean, you got to remember, even at that point, she was already a revenant, so she had already chosen evil, and then she was presented with a man that who chose evil, even without the threat of death. Man with a brutal lust for killing. Man who becomes Jack the Ripper. And again, he's gonna have a thick neck, because even though he's he's gonna be thick, scruffy, because he chooses to be at this point. Now, if I ever did a book, I might actually thought about doing it, because it's a book strictly about the bad guy, and it's not going to be good. A book. I'm not turning him into to an anti-hero. I refuse to do that, and if anybody ever gets involved with my storylines, I'm going to refuse that. This character never becomes an anti-hero. He is not a hero. He is the bad guy. He is mean, he is vile, he is nasty, and he, if you're telling his predecessor story, the pre-story, because, I mean, when I'm done with him, you're not going to be able to tell anything in the future of him, but I'm giving a little too much away. Don't want to give the whole story away, because then there's nothing there for you to read. Alright, so left. I'm trying to keep the timer on my watch, on my cell phone. Now I'm thinking, as I say, here he's a little rougher. Here he looks a little bit cleaner, but I don't know. Now I was using this on the previous sketch that I showed you. I really didn't like it too much. I think I tossed it, and it's the Copics, and the Copics 2. And it's a good pen, but apparently not very good on this paper, on this pad. So I went to this when I was doing this illustration. Now it's thick, it lays ink down thick, so I gotta be careful with it. But this is the Pentel Feud brush, or Pentel brush pen, made by Pentel. and I have to say I actually kind of like it. It was a recommendation of if you ever watch Jerkmonger, Elliot Fernandez, he uses quite often. And I enjoy it. I enjoy using it. Although for some reason his pen to me looks like it's got a thinner point than mine. Maybe he's got a, and I like my points really thin. I thought I ordered an extra fine. And unfortunately the packaging all comes in Japanese. So guess what? I don't read Japanese. So I can't tell if it is the actual extra fine. As I said, his point looks thinner than mine for some reason. Maybe it's just an illusion. I mean, it's looking at the video. I'm looking at the screen. That's why you see me looking over there. I'm looking at my screen on my computer. And my computer, as I said, my setup's a little different. My computer's way over there. So, over there. Point my finger over there. It's way over there. So, and I have zoomed in, so you're only seeing my face, cutting off the lower half of my body because I don't want you seeing how fat I really am. And I'm fat. I'm not gonna lie. I was 6'1", I guess because of my age and how much I weigh. I've shrunk. Now I'm more like 6 foot. I might even actually, I need my glasses. I might actually even be, 5'11". I don't want to admit that too much. If I am 5'11", it's 5'11" and 3/4 of an inch or something like that. But again, I don't want to admit that too much. Although I've had people look at me and argue even when I told them I was 6'1", they're like, "You're not 6'1". There's no way you're 6'1". I'd say you're 5'11". You gotta be 5'11". But every time I went to the doctor's office and got my height checked, they kept saying I was 6'1". I think what throws people off is, as I explained to my sons, I got a weird shaped body. My body, I have a long torso and short legs. And you usually don't notice it until I actually say something about it. Then all of a sudden it's like, wow, you're right, you do. After all, as I said, even at 6'1", I only had like a 30.5-inch seam. Okay, so you guys understand. I realize that my sketch, this doesn't look really clean. All right, and I'm not looking for really clean. I'm not looking for finished product. I'm trying to figure out how I want this guy to look. So I'm putting in a little bit of effort into making it a little cleaner. It's not completely clean image. It's not the finished product that I usually look for in my artwork. It's just me trying to figure out how I want this guy to look. You see my roughs, my preliminaries. And then as I draw him more and get used to drawing him, you'll see it get a lot better, a lot cleaner, a lot nicer. I mean, if you watch the previous video of this, the image looked really amateurish. I mean, but I think it was, again, I was just trying to figure out how I wanted it to look, because I really wasn't sure. I had this idea of what this character was mentally, but now I had to put a picture to the face. And I don't always create like that. Believe it or not, there's actually been times where I've actually drawn a really cool kick-ass character. Again, I'm gotta keep this PG. I apologize for the curse word. I draw this really cool character, and I actually end up in because I like it so much. I'm like, you know, I'm gonna do something with this guy, and I'll have to fill in a story for him after the fact. I've done that quite often. But then every once in a while, I come up with an idea for a character, and it's like, okay, well, I know this is what I want from this guy, and this is what he's gonna eventually be, and what he's gonna look. You know, and now I need to look for him. This is I haven't drawn this using this sketchbook in a long time. This paper's a little different. It's not bleeding through, so that's good. I mean, as I said, I was going to use my cardstock paper to draw this stuff out, and I was like, nah, you know what? It's kind of small. I want a big tablet, and I was like, I could always use my Bristol board, but listen, that stuff is expensive. Bristol board is expensive. To do sketches on, it's expensive. So, and I got a lot going on right now, so I gotta try and keep my costs effective. So I gotta use what materials I have, because I'm not gonna be going out and buying a whole lot of new materials. I still have yet to buy my my digital tablet. I bought one of these Wacom bamboo tablets a long time ago. I tried using it, and the guys, I give them props. The artists, they can sit there and draw on a piece of on a flat board and look up at a screen while they're drawing it and get it right. You've had to practice a long time to get that. If not, your hand-eye coordination is phenomenal. Thumbs up. I give you a big thumbs up. And I'm looking at my screen to make sure my thumb was in the screen when I did that. Alright, big thumbs up. Because, wow, I still can't get used to it. It just doesn't work for me. And then when I found out they have these tablets that you can draw, or they're literally computer screens made by Cintiq and other companies that you can draw on, I was like, that's for me. And I've actually done so using my iPad Air, but because my iPad Air is so old, it's iPad Air 2 is so old, it's kind of limited. I thought about getting a new iPad, but then I was like, you know what? Everybody keeps saying I need to get myself a tablet or get myself one of those Cintiqs or Unovas or Huions. I even seen this one's called a Yugi. I was actually thinking about that for a little while. My friend Chris, who currently works for Disney, is a freelance artist. Also worked for my best friend from since high school. Also worked for House as an illustrator, the head illustrator for House Industries. As I say, he currently works for Disney. He said because the Cintiq, and he knows what I'm talking about because he's got kids. He's like, the Cintiq is very expensive. Yes, it's is leading in the industry, but even he said I couldn't afford to go out and spend that kind of money. I have to be responsible for my kids and my wife. I don't have that kind of money to spend. So he went and got himself the Yugi, and he sent me a link to it. But ironically enough, the link he sent me to on Amazon is offering from like a third-party seller. It's not part of Amazon, so it sends me a link to another seller. And even when I can, like if I entered it in individually to another link, they're like still almost $800. Like, wow. But then I also seen this one, and I'm hearing mixed reviews about it. People are saying it's really awesome, but the customer service is not that great. It's called the Huion, and I actually have a Huion, excuse me, and I love it. I love this thing. You can see right here, it's got Huion on it. It's my light table. You just plug it in over here, hit that little tab right there, that little spot on the screen right there, and this thing lights up. Unfortunately, somehow somebody was messing around my art table and let this thing drop, because you can see there's a visible seam right here, and it does light up. It does show up and light up when I do it, but I can work around it because my wife was telling me this was an expensive piece of light table, so I deal with it because I don't want to have to go out and buy another one. Yeah, it's got a little bit of a light seam in there because someone was messing around with my art table and it must have fallen. I was not happy about that, but and of course, not me. That is a running joke in my family because every time something happened in our family, you knew it was the kids. Kids must have been messing around. The first words out of our three sons' mouth is, "Not me. It wasn't me. I don't know what you're talking about. It wasn't me." So everybody keeps saying it wasn't me. And so we always joked. My wife and I always joked. We had a fourth child, and that fourth child was called Not Me. Not Me showed up again and did it again. Now this is working twofold for me because I'm also practicing on what I can do on this paper, because I'm probably going to be using this more for my sketches and stuff and see what I can do ink wise. And it's always cool to practice with new stuff, and try something new. And back when I got this tablet, because I even surprised, I've got art supplies that are 20 some years old that I still use. I have Prismacolor markers, a set of Prismacolor markers that are sitting in my bag that I take with me to work, that are 25 years old. I'm not joking. They're 25 years old and they still work. They still work. I mean, some of them are starting to dry up, but still, they still work, and I use them. And that's after I gave them to my wife, because she needed Prismacolor markers when she was going to school for interior decorating, or should be interior design, and she needed some Prismacolor markers. And to save us money, I gave her my set. Now, as time went on and she found out about school, the school store, and she could save money, and they were offering special deals, and I got her Christmas gifts with art supplies. Got her a really nice set of Prismacolors that had a wider variety, because my set was like, I think it was like 24 pack of markers. I was only got 24 colors, and the set we ended up getting was like 120 set. Got it at a really discounted price, and she gave me my set back, and as I said, I still use them. Now I also have these Copics over here, and I bought a couple packs of those. Copics are pretty cool. Pretty cool. You gotta be careful what markers you use with them though, because they will you can blend your artwork and mess it, make a mess. And I guess one of the things you can do, and what everybody keeps, and other artists have told me, well, you can always do your inks after the fact, do your colors first, pencil in, do some light pencil roughs, color in your artwork, and then go in with your black lines after the fact. I've seen people do it, and I've thought about doing that. But it's a mindset, gotta get myself used to doing that, because for a long time I've just gotten used to just inking my stuff. For a long time I didn't even do inks. All I did was pencil, because I was told way back when in like early 90s, when I first started trying to break into the industry, I was told by editors, says, if you want to be a penciler, practice penciling. Don't ink your stuff. You're just a penciler. If you want to be an inker, you ink. If you want to be a colorist, you color. But these things you got to practice. You're not going to go to a job interview for a penciler with inked work, with finishes, because it kind of defeats the purpose. And then I started noticing a change in the mid 90s. This was already after I had stopped trying to break into the industry. I went through a period of time there where I was not in the mid 90s, actually it was probably more like the late 90s, because I met my wife. It was after I met my wife, and my wife and I wanted to get an apartment. I met my wife in 96. We were married by 98, so it was the late 90s. I noticed this trend of where artists were no longer just penciling their work. Comic book companies were figuring out, hey, you know what, rather than having to worry about paying a penciler and an inker, let's just hire a guy who does both. They'll go in and rough in his pencils, and then he can get finished inks, and we have a better chance of meeting our deadlines, because there was quite a few really talented artists at one point that were not meeting their deadlines, some of them my friends. So I know about that. Struggles with deadlines, making comic book issues running late, some of them from Image. Not that I'm saying I have a lot of friends from Image. I really only had one that worked at Image. Actually, no, two friends that worked at Image. No, they probably don't remember me now, or if they do, they barely remember me. Well, one of them, Carl Moline, he knows who I am. I deal with him. I don't know if did he work for Image though. The other one's Pop Man. He probably barely remembers me, but he's a good guy, very good guy. When we were in our 20s, my friends and a bunch of us got together, comic book conventions and stuff like that. Back when it was cool to go to a convention. And after conventions, go out, hang out at Ruby Tuesdays or someplace and get food, all of us as a big group together. And then there was Pop Man had this really cool townhouse. Now for us, for me and my other friends that went down there, that was a really cool thing for us, because most of us we were still living in a mom's basement. Pop had this really cool townhouse. He was self-sufficient, living on his own, and we considered that making it. Chris had already been working in the industry, working for DC Comics, making or drawing. I think at that time he was probably drawing Legionnaires. Me, I was still trying to break in. I was trying to do my thing, and that's when I first came up with this idea for a comic book I was going to come out with about werewolves. And that was back then. Just as that was about ready to happen, I met my wife, and things got really hot and heavy with her and I really quick. And I fell head over heels for her. Still head over heels for her. Sound like a sappy mess saying that, but it's the truth. And next thing you know, living in mom's basement, or working out of mom's basement, having my own place, living at mom's house was not a cool thing, especially at 25. So at that time, she was my girlfriend. We decided to get a place together. And of course, with getting a place together means I needed to make a lot more money than I was making at the time. And at the time, I was working as a certified nursing assistant. Now you're thinking, well, man, that's a decent job. You should be getting paid decent money. I was working at a state-run facility. And at the time, I was only making $7.75 an hour, $7.75 an hour. And my dumb butt wanted a decent car to drive, so I spent all my money on a car. Now, well, I shouldn't say a decent car because it wasn't a very decent car. At the time I was driving it's called a Chevy Geostorm. Everybody says, no, that's a Geostorm. No, believe it or not, for a short period of time during around 1993, Chevy actually started taking over the name because Geo went to shut down, but they were still making the cars, and Chevy was calling it Chevy Geostorm. I know because that was what was on my title and on my registration. I was driving a 1993 Chevy Geostorm. That was a slight upgrade, but not much of an upgrade from my previous car, which is a 1982 Toyota Corolla Tercel. Again, everybody's like, wait a minute, Toyota Corolla Tercel? That's impossible. It's either a Corolla or a Tercel. Two different makes. But in 1982, they had actually made a Toyota Corolla Tercel. It was about the size of a Tercel, but it had the luxuries of a Corolla, because I mean, really, this was a nice little car. It was a little 5-speed 4-cylinder. I had a sunroof in it. It didn't have power windows. I had roll up and roll down windows, but it had an AM/FM cassette, 5-speed manual transmission, but it had a leather interior. Actually, I think it might have actually been pleather, but it was tinted windows. It was all white. It was a nice little number. I mean, I actually enjoyed driving that little car. It was like, because it was my first manual transmission, and I stuck with manuals for a while because of that. I mean, even the Geostorm was a manual transmission. Before that, I got rid of my '67 Mustang. Now that's a crying shame. Downgrading from a '67 Mustang to a Toyota. Yeah. But me keeping that car wasn't in the cards. I had forces in the family that were working against me, would not let me keep that bad boy for myself. Even with the engine blew on it, and I wanted to put it in storage so I could fix it later and fix it the right way. And my mother was very much a control freak when it came to me, because I was the oldest. So she was always very, very overprotective. And she had a cow fit when she found out I wanted to put it in the storage. She's like, "You can't do that. There's no way. One car per family member in the household. If you don't like it, move out." And she knew she had me by the short and curlies when she said that, because there's no way I was moving out at that point in time. Because at that point in time, I wasn't even working as a CNA at that point in time. Yeah, I was working in a pizza shop, delivering pizzas. Okay money, but yeah, without a regular full-time job, you're not paying rent on that. So I don't know, maybe some people are, but I wasn't working full-time doing that. I literally worked Friday night, half a night, and then all night Saturday. Oh no, that's backwards. I'm sorry. All night Friday night and half a night Saturday. I got 2 minutes and 31 seconds to wrap this bad boy up. But hey, it's another sketch. Working on another sketch. Again, still working out the how I want this bad boy to look. Let me just blacken this in, make this quick. I don't have to go with all the, because I wanted to have his hair kind of disheveled, so I was trying to make straggly pieces come off. But again, this is just roughing in, and I want to try and get this finished before the video ends, and I got 2 minutes, so we're gonna be blocking it in quick here, guys. Keep this. Ooh. Half the page. Sorry about that, guys. That's not the video here. There we go. Let's bring this in here like this. You know what movie I haven't seen in a long time, and I saw it today? The Substitute. Anybody ever seen that? It's like, I forget the actor's full name. I know his first name was Tom, just like mine. I'm trying to remember his full name. But badass mercenary guy with a code of ethics, and his girlfriend gets messed with in a high school with a crooked principal who's selling drugs and using the local gangs inside of the school to sell the drugs and traffic the drugs and move the drugs, and he goes in and cleans up the school. What do you guys think? I mean, it's not great, but it's a start. I'm running out of time. I'm out of time. I'm supposed to only keep this an hour. You know what? Let's go in here and finish this real quick, guys. Fucking slow and messing around. Again, not the cleanest work I'm working with right now. I do apologize, but I am just figuring things out. I'm just trying to figure out what I want this guy to look at, or look like, excuse me. So, This is my process. As slow and as tedious it is. It's like, why are you doing full renderings on a guy? Technically, I'm not really doing full renderings because this is not really my finished work. This is me rushing to get my finished work. It's similar to my finished work, not really my finished work. And just messing around here, trying to figure it out. Let's block it all in. There we go. And I'll get fast. I get faster sometimes. Like I said, I'm a little rusty also right now because I haven't drawn in a couple weeks. I've been drawing for a few weeks. Should never stop drawing for a couple weeks. And I did it. It's okay. It's getting closer to what I'm looking for Rummy. Yeah, going from this is what, you know, idea of what it kind of looks like there to this from the side, doing a side view. And again, this is rough stuff. This is me practicing. Rummy's going to be a dark figure. I'm probably going to keep him a little bit more wolfish. Yeah, like a man with a little bit of a wolfing out just a little bit. I guess kind of almost like a Wolverine-ish. Not so Wolverine, because Wolverine just looks like a short, hairy man. And this is not going to be a short man. He's going to be kind of a tall man. So, but hey, if you ever want to see my finished product, you actually can look over there. See that right there where my thumb's pointing right there? That's some of my finished work right there. That's what I do right there. Yeah, when it's cleaner. I like that. Point my thumb right at it. Well, that's actually not so clean. That's a sketch, but I mean it was a fun sketch. And that's a little bit more cleaner, but again, that's an older image. Hold on a second. Let me pull something out here. I'll show you. There's another sketch I've done in the past. Put this off to the side and pull out my sketchbook here. There you go. Some of you probably have already seen a lot of my sketch work, but as whoever's following me. But here you go. See how you guys like this. This is one of my sketchbooks. I did this at work while on the trolley collecting fares. Everybody like that bad boy? How about that? Judge Dredd. Is that not cool? There's Judgy boy, Judge Dredd. Yeah. There you go. Hold on a second. Oh, come on. There's a little illustration I did of a rocky skeleton guy. But this book is huge. Hold on a second. Keep sliding down on me, but I just realized something. I can adjust this. Not so tilted. There you go. Alright. There's a illustration I did of some DC characters involved in there. Superman, the Flash. If you guys remember this, the Phantom from comic book. And it's just, I forget, there was a hero I was looking at. I just can't remember the name of the character that I did that for. It's just a quick little thing in there, and I threw down at the bottom. Little castle scene with a Reaper kind of looking character in there, and that's again the Batman in the background, just drawing trying to do some sketch stuff. There you go. Everybody seen this image? There you go, show you that. Alright, that's our good boy there, Callan. And this was an idea over here for a demon. This is another finished piece of the demon. It's actually, that's not really a demon. It's kind of a alien that ends up in my. I was thinking of the idea. I was thinking of was like an alien that kind of looked demonic. I was thinking at the time I was thinking of a story where the demonic looking alien comes to Earth, and everybody realizes that this is where the idea or concept of demons came from. And then little dragon thing I was working on right there, and some quick sketch doodle stuff over here. I was going Viking on this stuff. A little Viking stuff going on in there. Some more imagery there for Temple, Callan. There you go. Again, just doing some illustration, sketch work, pen and ink work, practicing my pen and ink work. Everybody really freaks out over this dragon. There's a dragon's head. I was just working on a dragon. There's a series of them: dragon's eyeball, dragon head, and then you got a little Hercules action taking on the Hydra. And this was just an idea for a little page temple thing. It was just a quick drawing. I mean, I decided to go ahead and ink it in, but it's really not that great of a page layout. Not really good for a public thing. It was just me practicing. Would never put that in a comic book. And again, messing around with some story panel idea, and then going in there with some inks, because it's not my finished pencils. It was just a really practicing around with some pencil, ideas for kids running in the street, and then I went ahead and said, hey, let me go ahead and ink it. When you're not really messing around, messing around at work. Then there's this. A lot of people really got a kick out of this. This is Temple, full illustration of Temple. The only thing I regret about this piece is I didn't do the mace, the full mace. I just drew a bunch of little circles and had him swinging it around. That's actually supposed to be a mace, and he's spinning it. You can see it actually here. He's looking out. He's pulling his dagger out, and then he's got little things pulling out of his belt in his back, and you're like, wow, what's that? What's he pulling out of his belt? And then all of a sudden, that little thing, I would put a sound effect here, just click, and all of a sudden that end of it would open up, and something starts to fall out. You see this rod, and you're like, what the heck is that? A rod falling out. And all of a sudden, that rod has a cord attached to it, and the whole thing spins out and ends up turning into a mace. Folds out into a mace, and uses that and bludgeons his enemies to death with it. And there was a drawing I did while I was in jury duty. Color and all. I took it all with me in a backpack to jury duty, and that's what I was drawing while I was in jury duty. Another little quick illustration. And then that's horrible. I was messing around with my markers, and I ran out of color and tried some different colors to see if I could blend some stuff together, and it just really didn't work well. Then I did this. While I was sitting on jury duty as well. I'm actually going to do something with that. I want to make that into a character. Got bored drawing eyeball. Actually, how this eyeball came about. Big, huge face. Just a big, huge eyeball. And how this came about, I literally had a black mark from this side of the page. Right here. See that little black mark? Bled through and put a black mark in here where the center of the eyeball is. So I was like, what can I do with this page? I got this black mark sitting in here, and I was like, it's a waste of paper, and I just went in and I drew this. It was just fun, messing around with techniques, messing around with art, trying different pens, doing different things, just messing around. Then I think I showed you this earlier. This is a temple fighting some werewolves. That was me messing around with drawing from a different angle. I don't like this page. Again, not pleased with it. I would work this a little bit better. The shoulder should be a little bit more rounded. The head kind of looks like, to be honest with you, the dimensions are wrong. If this neck was actually this long, you're looking at about a foot and a half long neck sticking out of a body. His chin should be right there, and the top of the head should be right there. Completely off. But again, I'm doing this quickly, 5-10 minutes here and there at work while I'm collecting fares, and then just messing around drawing some faces and stuff like that. Not a whole lot of really good details in there. Little Batman thing messing around, not really all that great. I showed you this stuff. quick little Spider-Man. This is my at-work sketchbook. I was messing around with that other image of Temple, and then you saw that. And that was a character idea for a villain that's going to be actually in again roughing in. This is going to be a character. Right now I'm calling him Mr. Void because I don't have an actual name for him, but he is going to be in the Temple, Solomon's Temple books, but in later books, not in the first book. Get your first glimpse of what he looks like, and then he's kind of he's actually really a bad guy. Really bad guy. So, the baddies of the baddies. The spirit of evil. Kind of. Not the devil, not Lucifer, but the spirit of evil. Anyway, that's my little sketchbook thing. Little, I shouldn't call it little. Look how thick that thing is. That's what I take with me to work. So anyway, that should bring us around to near the end of this segment. I went a little bit past my time, quite a little bit past my time. I do apologize for that. We're gonna go into real quick. Let's say I have something in here. Let me look at this. There we go. Wrong page from my art table. There we go. My favorite little segment. Bear with me. Here we go. Well, this is what I like to call books to back. Yes, baby. Books to back. This is where I talk about books to back. Now, I didn't change much because from the last video, I'm working on preparing it better. But, hey, guys, again, these are books you're going to want to back. First, we're going to take a look up here at the very top up here of that. I'm looking at the screen. I do apologize, but it's the only way I can do this. Up here is Dug to Naples. You gotta follow this book, Earthworm Jim, guys. And you gotta back this book. Back this book. It's a good book. All right. And the thing about Doug is you're almost guaranteed you're gonna get your product. I mean, he's proven himself time and time again. He's done several Kickstarter campaigns. He's also done a few Indiegogo campaigns, and he's given his product to his customer. I think he might have some small issues here and there, but he's talked about them. He's honest about them, and it's usually with international shipping. But he's good for it. Back that product. Next, down below that, in the center there, we have Gunship Thunder Punch, Brian Shear, another quality book. Guys, follow him. Good guy. You're gonna like it. So I'm going in order of how much time's left. There's not a whole lot of time left on these books. Okay, I think there's only like less than a month left on them. Might be a little bit more than a month, around a month left on these books. But you want to follow. You want to definitely, if you get a chance, get in on these books. Yeah, join the campaign, join the rush. Let's keep it going. And then down below, Doom Kicker, Elliot Fernandez, the Jerkmonger. Gotta follow that, man. Gotta help us contribute to that book. Again, I do not believe you'll be upset. You will rejoice in that book. I'm going to be doing more of this. Was what I'm going to be calling books to back segment during my show, and I hope you guys listen to me. We are starting an independent movement here. There's another gentleman, Mike Miller. He's also doing it. He's got a book coming out, or a book he's working on right now. Lone Star. Find it on Indiegogo. He's already done one book. He's coming out with another book. Definitely back and follow him. He's already up in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. But hey, you want to get this product, because once it's done, it's done. It's how that's their main point of distribution right there. All right. I don't know if they're going to be doing anything else besides providing for the customer base who's buying the books. It's a way for them to get their customers involved in their projects, and one way for them to bring their stories out. Mike Miller, Lone Star, Elliot Fernandez, Doom Kicker, Brian Shearer. You got Gunship Thunder Punch, Doug TeNapel, Earthworm Jim. Check them out. Good books. Also, almost forgot, you also have the again, bear with me, I'm gonna look this up real quick. On Kickstarter, you got Andy Smith has got his project coming out. His project, there's only a little bit of time left on that. All right, and I believe that's dynamic drawing. Andy Smith's. Yep, dynamic hero template. I don't have it on my template on my thing over here, but dynamic hero templates by comic book artist Andy Smith. You can find that on Kickstarter, and then also there's another book that seems to be picking up hot and heavy on here on Indiegogo. And I've actually backed this book myself. It's called Monster MD. Another very, very good look. It's very cool looking art, very cool looking book. You guys want to check this out, all right? And there's this one. I'm sorry, guys. Too late. It already came. It looks like it already went and is funded. It's called Shinobi Sasquatch Book 1. I believe it's already closed out. It may not have been because it looks like it's still showing up. I thought it was done already, but you want to check it out. Shinobi Sasquatch Book 1. All right, really cool book, really cool artwork. I've just found out about it. Didn't know anything about it. Just found out about this when I was watching Blacklist University Friday night auction. You guys want to check those books out, okay? Again, I want to improve upon this stuff and make everything better, make my shows better. I hope you guys will continue to enjoy me. I'm going to try and put out more and more videos. I want to thank you very, very much for following me on this segment, and look forward to seeing you again. Y'all have a nice one now. Bye.